My name is Dana Sharvit from the Alma Product Management Team, and today we're going to talk about the Alma Link Resolver. We're going to discuss various things. We're going to talk about the Alma Link Resolver, give you some basic background about what it is, what it does, what's the purpose of the Alma Link Resolver as a component of Alma. We'll go into depth in the sense of to understand how Alma Link Resolver works. We'll talk about the high-level flow for it. I'll demonstrate different examples to show you the services that are provided by the Alma Link Resolver. We'll go over the various configuration options that you have within Alma in order to configure the service menu that is provided by the Alma Link Resolver. In addition, I'm going to also provide you with some information regarding a specific service that is part of the Alma Link Resolver, which is called General Electronic Service. We'll do some samples, real-life samples, so you can see how you can configure it. We'll talk about the A to Z, and the A to Z list for electronic titles, which is not a component of Alma. It's a component of Primo, but you're often asked about this, and we will show it as part of this session. We're going also to talk about the Citation Linker, which is also another component of Primo, and we'll see how it interacts with the Alma Link Resolver. And I'm going to give you some tips regarding troubleshooting in relation to Alma Link Resolver. If you don't understand why you're getting the responses that you're getting from the Alma Link Resolver, some tips and troubleshooting ideas that you can use when you encounter a problem. So let's start. Okay, Alma Link Resolver. Alma Link Resolver is a component of Alma that comes as part of Alma. It does not require any additional charges or anything like it. It's a component that enables linking to electronic resources. If it's an electronic resource of type database, if it's an electronic portfolio of type book or of journal, this is the component that enables linking, providing end users access to the electronic resources. Now, when we talk about Alma Link Resolver, there's something very important about it. Alma Link Resolver provides links to electronic resource, but those are not static links. It's not static links. These are links that are calculated by Alma based on the availability of the resources, based on the availability of the collection within Alma. And it's context sensitive to the searches that are done by the end user. So we have an end user that searches a database. It can be an abstract and index database. It can be a full text database. It can be the library discovery system, Primo. When an end user searches and encounters a specific citation that describes a journal, a book, an article, the idea is that Alma Link Resolver will offer context-sensitive links to the search that he just performed, providing him with links to full-text articles that he has access to, or providing with additional services such as resource sharing and so forth. We'll see example, and hopefully it will be more clear. But the idea is that Alma Link Resolver does offer context-sensitive links. No matter where you start your search from, it can be your discovery system, Primo discovery system, or it can be any other OpenURL compliant source, such as PubMed, EBSCO, ProQuest, and so forth. Alma Link Resolver supports OpenURL 0.1 and OpenURL 1.0. These are the standards that the Alma Link Resolver supports, and it offers different type of services. It offers print services, it offers electronic services, and it offers digital services, as it is a unified resource management system. And this is something that is very different from SFX, for example, which is also a link resolver, which offers only electronic services, does not offer print-related services or digital-related services. So we'll see examples as we go forward. The different type of services that are offered by the Link Resolver are full text services, document delivery, resource sharing, request option for physical material, and general electronic services that we'll talk about more in depth later on. So let's talk about the high-level flow of this link resolver. So we have a user. The user accesses various databases, again, abstract and index database, full-text databases, discovery system, for example, Exlibris Primo. So here we have example of a user searching either PubMed or Web of Science or Exlibris Primo discovery system, EBSCO, Google Scholar. These are all different types of citation databases, index databases that a user searches in order to find the material he is looking for the work that he needs to do. So we have the user who searches this information, but then he finds a citation or an abstract of something that he is looking for, but he wants to get to the full text of an article, a full text of the article for which he sees the abstract for. And currently, these providers not all of them can provide full text access to these to the citation that he's looking at. And some of them, so for example, Google Scholar may not have a full text for the citation he's looking at, or the full text that is provided by the provider is not something that the user can access because he does not have permissions to access, because the library the university that he belongs to does not have the right to view the full text that is offered by a specific provider. So the user searches this third party, and he wants to get to the full text. So in order to do that, this is where the Alma link resolver comes into play, because the user did a search, and now when he searches any one of these third parties, an open URL is sent to so an open URL with metadata information about the citation that he searched for is sent. What is an open URL? An open URL is a standard URL that is a standard HTTP URL, but it's called open URL because it's an ISO standard, which actually defines what is the information that can be passed on the URL. So on this URL, we can pass metadata describing citation. So it can be an ISSN, volume, ISBN, title information, author information, metadata describing citation. Therefore, it's called an open URL, standard URL HTTP request. It's sent to the Primo service page. Okay, this information is sent to the Primo service page. The Primo service page tunnels this open URL. It just sends it. It gets it, and it doesn't do anything with this open URL. It just sends it along to the Alma link resolver, asking Alma, what do you have for this citation? What do you have? Here I'm giving you this open URL that describes a certain citation with certain metadata, with certain ISBN, title information, author information. What can you tell me about this citation? Does the library have anything that relates to this citation? Is there a print copy for this book? Is there an electronic book for this specific citation? What can you offer me? What type of context-sensitive services can you offer me for this specific citation that I'm passing to you on this open URL? So Alma, the Alma link resolver calculates this information and attempts to find matches for this specific citation. It does. We'll talk about what type of calculation it does later on, but it finds the services that are relevant for this specific citation, and it sends them back to the Primo service page. In return, the Primo service page creates the UI for the end user, displaying all the relevant services. So what you see here is the Primo service page service menu, showing all the available services for the specific citation that the user searched for in an external database. Okay? So it starts from the user searching at a different database and then communicates with Alma via Primo in order to get the service page. Okay? So this is very high level how it works. So let's see how, let's talk about exactly how Alma calculates the relevant services. So we said that the Alma link resolver accepts the open URL request. When it gets the open URL request, it analyzes the content of the open URL. It analyzes in the sense that he needs to figure out, Alma link needs to figure out what is the metadata information that is passed on the open URL. Once it has the metadata information, it also attempts to enrich this information from external sources. Okay, sometimes it's not enough. Sometimes an open URL compliant source does not send enough information. It sends an ID, which doesn't tell us anything, doesn't tell Alma anything in order to calculate services. So we need to consult external applications in order to understand what is this specific ID that was sent on the open URL. So we attempt to enrich this information, the content, using these type of sources. And once we have enough information, once we have a lot of metadata describing the citation, then Alma builds what we call the context object. Okay, it's a container of all the metadata information that Alma gathered. And this context object is used in order to calculate the services. So now I know what is the resource, what is the book, what is the journal that the user is looking for. And now I need to look within the library collection and see what are the relevant resources that the library has and that I can provide the user with. Based on this metadata, it checks for the availability in terms of electronic resources. Alma, as you know, has all of the, Alma stores all of the electronic resources as active resources. So it has all the information about all the active packages, the active journals, the active electronic books that the library owns. So it consults this availability information. It also has coverage information for journals. So a library will have information about a certain journal in relation to the coverage. So a certain journal can be available from year 1990 until 2010. So all these detailed information is stored within the library collection, and we need to consult that. We cannot give links that for which the library does not have access to. We also provide services based on the embargo information that is maintained within the library collection and all kinds of linking thresholds. So for example, we do not, in order to be able to link to Amazon, for example, you need to have an ISBN. If you don't have an ISBN, then we will not provide you with a service to link to Amazon. So these are the things that we take into account. The Alma link resolver take into account when we calculate the relevant services that we offer to the end user. Okay? So let's look at some examples. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to log into PubMed, okay, as an abstract index database. It also has some full text articles, but I'm going to link to PubMed, and I'm going to perform a search there. Okay, so this is the PubMed interface. I'm recognized as a user, which is called Alma Demo. And I'm going to search for an article that is identified by this ID. Okay, and now I see the abstract for this specific article. Okay, now since I am logged in, PubMed recognizes me, and it knows that I'm a user, a student of VCU, Virginia Commonwealth. I'm going to use their environment for demonstrating this. So now I'm looking at a specific citation, a specific abstract, and I want Alma to show me the relevant services. What are the relevant services that can be offered to me as a student of VCU? When I click here on Get It VCU, this is when the open URL is sent to Primo service page. Primo service page sends it to Alma, and Alma in return will show all the relevant services. So I'm going to click on Get It. And this is what is called the service page. Okay, this is a service page that we talked about before. You can see here that VCU customize it according to their look and feel. It's their own CSS. And you can see here metadata description about this specific citation. Okay, this is all the metadata information that was sent on the open URL to Alma. So there's the article title information, there's the journal information, year, volume, pages, and so forth. This is all the information that was sent. And you can see here, these are the services that Alma calculated as being relevant to this specific article. So this specific article is available for VCU students from different providers, from HighWire, different packages of HighWire, from PubMed Central. It's also available. It also shows coverage information. You can see that this specific journal is available from 1896, Volume 1, Issue 1. This is all information that is displayed to the end user in case VCU feels it's relevant and is there for them. Okay, so for this specific example, it shows how Alma can provide links to electronic resources that the library has as part of their collection. I'm going to show you another example. I'm going to continue to search in PubMed, this time for a different article. Okay, this is another abstract. This is another citation of that exists in PubMed. Clicking again on VCU will show me all the services from VCU that are relevant to this specific citation. Okay. That's the beauty of Alma Link Resolver. It's sensitive to my search. Okay, the services are sensitive to the search that I just made. I'm going to log in to VCU. Now let me explain here what happened. For this specific example, there was only one electronic service available. Okay, there was only one electronic service available, one full text. And therefore, VCU decided that when there's only one electronic full text available, then there's no sense in showing the service page that we saw in the previous example. There's no sense in showing it to you because I don't want the user to now have to do another click in order to get to the full text. There's only one available. So because there's only one available, so let's take the user to that full text instead of having him click another link. So this is what we call direct link to the full text. And VCU configured their link resolver to work in a way that when there's only one full text service available, don't show the service menu page, the service page, just take the user directly to the full text. And that's why I had to log in, because I had to log in because he tried to send me directly to the full text, but before sending me to the full text, I had to go through the proxy server, add in my credential, and then now I'm able to see the full text for that specific article. Otherwise, the vendor would have, if I didn't go through the proxy server, the vendor would have blocked me from seeing this specific full text. So here, I can get to the actual article. It's really nice. It takes you directly to the article for which I saw the citation. And it's, and again, context sensitive. I search for something, I go directly to the full text of that citation. Okay, these are two variations of electronic services that Alma can provide you with. Let me show you a different example that relates more to print services. Again, I'm going to continue searching in PubMed. Okay. This is another article, citation of an article. Again, I'm going to click on VCU. Metadata information will be sent again to the Primo service page and consult with Alma regarding what are the services that Alma can offer for this specific citation. I'm going to click on this. Excuse me. And now you see something completely different. Why? Because for this specific article, there is no electronic services that Alma can offer. Okay? There's no electronic services. That's why you get the service page. This is the same service page. Okay? This is the same service page, and it has the metadata information, of course, but now instead of available online tab, you see here find or request. This is all the services that are relevant for the print material that is available for that specific article within the library. Okay, this journal is available as a physical journal, within the library, and here we show all the information about this physical journal that exists in the library. So you see here all the there's bound issues for that specific for that specific journal. So okay, so this is what Alma can offer relating to this specific journal in print. There's no electronic versions, there's only print versions, and this is what you can offer. Now you can see here that I don't have any request option. Why? Because I'm not logged in. Okay, could be when I log in. Okay, now I'm logged in. So now, because I'm logged in, Alma can also offer request options. This specific user, which is an Exlibris demo account user, does not have the request options available in terms of the terms of use and so forth. I don't have this options, but if I did, I would have here an option to request on the item level. It takes into account all of the information based on the policies and the terms of use and the statuses and so forth, and it will show you, it will be really sensitive to what you can actually, what are the request options that you have, since it can identify you as a user and it knows your permissions and so forth. So this is an example for print-related service that we can offer. I want to show you something else. Again, another ID. I'm going to search in PubMed. Now, when I click on this, on VCU link resolver button, now I get something completely different. What is this? What does this example show? This example shows that I don't have this article. I don't have this available online. I don't have any electronic resources for this, and I don't have any print versions for this. But what I can offer the user is the ability to do a resource sharing request. Okay, there is nothing available, so I can do a document delivery. I can offer them a document delivery service, and if I click on this, it will open. In this case, I believe it's an Iliad example. It will fill in the form for the resource sharing request, for the Iliad resource sharing request, and as you can see, it already filled the form with all the metadata information. Okay, so Iliad is a service, it's ILL in the library loan, so you can fill it in. You can fill in the request form, submit it, and they will, in this case, it says if they have it electronic, they'll digitize it to you, send it to you. If it's something physical, they will send it physically to the library, depends. But it's a service that enables you to share the resources. Okay, so it will find the library that has this specific journal or a book, if it's and it will find who has it available and will send it to you. And this is the case here where you I don't have it in my library. I want to fill in a resource sharing request and find out who has it and have this material sent over to the library for the use of this specific user. So it filled in all the information in the Iliad form, and clicking here will submit it. I'm not going to submit it. Okay, so I showed you 4 examples. This 4 example shows you the variety of options that exist in the link resolver. Electronic services, print-related services, And again, it all depends on the availability of resources in your library, and it's context sensitive to your searches. And that's why you can see that the services that are offered to the end user are very different from one example to another. I showed you the Alma Link Resolver services when we started from PubMed as a source of as a database that you can search for. Let's see how it looks in Primo. Okay, so if I go to Primo, it's another. Primo is just like any other OpenURL compliant source. Some statistics. More than 50% of the searches that are done by students are done not from the discovery system of the library. So more than 50% of the searches the students do, they do it in other places. They do it in different databases, just as I showed you. The other 50% do use the Primo discovery system, the catalog, back in the traditional ILS, it's the OPAC. Here in Alma, it's the Primo discovery system. So I want to show you the services also in this context. So if I go to Primo, this is the VCU Primo interface, okay? I'm just going to search for Publishers Weekly, for example. We'll use this example later on as well. I'm going to search for Publishers Weekly. Did I search? Okay, these are the Primo results. Okay, just like I searched in PubMed and I got results here, I searched Primo Discovery System and I got the results for Publishers Weekly. Here, instead of having the VCU button, it's more integrated because it is the discovery system of Alma, and it's more tightly integrated. And here you just need to click on View Online, and it will open it within the search results. And again, the same. It looks just the same. You have the metadata information here, and you also have the, in this case, the electronic services that are available for Publishers Weekly from Alma. Okay, so this is an example from Primo. But it works exactly the same way. OpenURL sent with metadata information. Alma calculates the relevant services and presents it to the end user using this interface. Okay, back to the presentation. So we saw the service page, and I want to show you the capability, the configuration capability within Alma. So what we can do in Alma is, I touched a bit regarding the direct linking. Okay, we can configure, so when we have one electronic service available and we want the user to be directly linked to this full text, I have the option to configure that, and I will show you how you can do that. So if we go to Alma demo environment, at this point I will thank VCU, and we'll use our demo environment. So I'm going to log into Alma demo. Okay, this is the Alma environment. I'm going to go to everything that has to do with the configuration of the Alma Link Resolver page is done in the fulfillment configuration menu. So clicking here on configuration menu of the fulfillment. Here you have a section, Discovery Interface Display Logic. This is everything that has to do with configuration of the Alma Link Resolver page. You have here a link to the direct linking. Clicking on here will give you all the options that have to do with the configuration of this small feature. First of all, I can turn it on or off. So in this demo environment, it's turned off. We do not enable direct linking, but if we do want to enable direct linking, I will just click this. And then I have the subsets of configuration. First of all, I can enable direct linking when multiple services are available. So not just in the case when there's only one service available. Let's say I don't want to show the service page at all. I always want to go to the first electronic service that is available. I have this option. Disable direct link when additional information is available. For example, if I have, let's say that I have a link to an electronic resource, but I also have an access note. I have an access note that is relevant to the user. So I don't want the user to be directed to the full text automatically. I want the user to see the note. So that's why I can disable the direct linking when there is a authentication note or there is a public note. So these are all kinds of little small configuration that can be done in the context of the direct linking. For example, I can disable direct linking for databases. If it's a resource of type database, I don't want the user to be directly linked to it. I can disable that. And I also can disable direct linking for digital resource. These are all options that I have. I'm going to cancel, okay? But this is where I would configure everything that has to do with direct linking. Another options that we have, going back to the presentation, is to define the, I'm going to jump to the third option that we have here, is to define the order of the appearance of the services, okay? So let me show you how we can do that. I'm going to search for Publishers Weekly. This is my favorite example all the time. Okay, this is the search result for the Publishers Weekly. And if I click on View It, I get all the electronic services. You see that I have this specific journal is available through a couple of providers. I can define the order of this. For example, I can define that when I have a service from Gale Biography in Context, I want it always to appear on top. This is my preferred service. So I can do that. How do I do that? If I go back to the configuration in Alma, I have this option. Okay, and I have here two sections, add to top and add to last. So I can add to top, can define what I want. I want full text and the service name. Let's say it's an interface, not a package. Okay, the difference between a package and an interface is usually a provider. Okay, so for example, EBSCOhost is an interface. And within an interface, there's different packages that this specific provider offers. Okay, so EBSCOhost will have many packages. Each one will have a different name and a different set of titles within it. So there will be an interface, EBSCOhost, and there will be a package, for example, EBSCOsearch Premier. And okay, so these are different entities within Alma. Should be you probably are familiar with it by this time. So I'm going to search. I'm going to say Gale Group. Okay, this is an interface. Okay, you remember that Gale was the last option that I had. Okay, and I'm going to configure that. So now I have this definition that I want full text of interface Gale Group to always appear at top. And if I go back to my Primo, and do another search, click on View It. Okay, and now I have Gale services on top. This one is also part of the Gale interface, but this is also part of Gale, and that's why it appears on top. If I wanted to be really specific, I could have created a configuration that says Gale Biography in Context and put it on top. Okay, so this is an option that you have, just as I did, just as I configured what are the services that are at the top, I can also do what are the services that I want on the bottom. Okay, the same type of configuration. Now let's go to the configuration of display logic. What is the display logic? In Alma, we have the option to define display logic rules within the context of this service page. Within the context of this service page. And for example, when I have multiple services available, I can define a logic rule that says whenever I have a Gale service, I don't want ProQuest service. Okay, I'm not interested in ProQuest. When Gale is available, I don't want ProQuest. Okay, this is the type of a display logic rule. This gives the library the control over preferred vendors, if you'd like. I can also do display logic rules, not just in the context of the online services, the electronic services. I can also create display logic rules in relation to the print services. So, for example, I can define that do not show a resource sharing request when there is a physical book available. When there is a physical book as part of my collection, there's no sense in giving the user the service for resource sharing when I have this book, when the book is available in the library. So there's all kinds of configuration. These are all kinds of display logic configurations that can be done. So let's look at this option. Going back to the configuration, I'm going to go to the display logic rules, again in the fulfillment configuration option. Display logic rules, okay? Now I can add a rule. Okay, so let's try to do what I said earlier. So I want to hide ProQuest if Gale exists. Okay, so I would say hide service full text with interface, and now I will search for Gale. Okay, I'm going to hide Gale. If exists service full text with interface, and then I'm going to select here ProQuest. So I need to look for ProQuest, and here it is, ProQuest, okay. I'm going to select. Okay, so this is the rule I just created. Okay, if we look at it. Hide service full text with interface Gale group. If exists service full text with interface ProQuest. Okay, so now if I go back to my example, I'm not supposed to see Gale services. Okay, so let's go back to Primo, and I'm going to search again. Okay, now I only got the services, which is ProQuest and OCLC. Okay, it hid the two services that were part of the Gale group interface. Okay, so this is an option of how to configure display logic rules within electronic services. Okay. Let's take a look at another display logic example. I can, for example, define resource sharing request with resource sharing system with value Iliad. If exists service full text, for example. Okay, if exists full text. Okay, this is a type of service. This is a type of service that is very relevant because you don't want to you don't want to give the user a resource sharing option when there is an electronic full text available in the library. There's no sense. So this gives you the ability to actually do a display logic rule that takes into account both the electronic services and the print services. This is something that is fairly new. I think it's released in the July release, which enables you, again, display logic rules between electronic services and print services. I don't have an example to show you this working, but this is an option that exists as of July release. Okay, so this is the display logic rules. It gives you this flexibility. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. Okay, so we talked about direct linking, we talked about display logic rules, and we talked about the ability to define the sort order. Let's talk about general electronic services. So basically what I showed you now is that Alma provides services based on the availability of resource within the library's collections. Okay, it always did this calculation of do I have this in my library, and based on that it provided services. But sometimes we want to, even if we don't have something available, we want to provide services. For example, let's say I don't have a book available, not in print, not in an electronic version. I want to direct the user to search for this specific book in Amazon. Okay, so I can do that. So I want to. So this specific service is called a general electronic service. Why is it called general electronic service? Because it's a general service. It does not relate to the fact that, it does not relate to the fact if I have this book as part of my collection or I don't. It gives you the flexibility to provide a service, any type of service, as long as it's an HTTP service, to your end user. So there's a lot of flexibility with the general electronic service, as long as it's something that is HTTP, something that you can direct your user to, you can configure, you can work on it, you can configure it in Alma, providing the service. So here we have some examples. We have an example, which is send feedback to librarians. Sometimes you want, there are some cases where libraries want to get feedback about the services that are provided, and they created a link to a feedback form that the user can fill in and send feedback information to the end user. So the general electronic service that is something that is based on a template URL. And within that template URL, you can embed information from the open URL. You remember the context object that we talked about? So the context object is the container of all the open URL elements that are sent. So you can take all that information that is in the context object and embed that within the template URL. I'll show it in a minute, and I think it will be much more clear. And with the general electronic services, you also have the ability to define the condition in which the service will appear. So let's see an example, and hopefully it will be more clear. Here, general electronic service. But before I do that, I want to search for something in Primo, just so it goes completely. Yeah. Let's search for this example. This is a book, okay? This is a book that is available as part of my library's collection. I have a full text from ebook library, okay, that I can access this electronic book, okay? I want to now configure a service that is search for this specific book, search for a book in Amazon, okay? Context sensitive, so it's always the book that I'm looking at. So I want to provide a service which is searching for a book in Amazon. So how would I do that? I go to configuration, I go to general electronic services. I need to know what I'm doing, okay? I need to know what is the syntax for searching a book in Amazon when I want to do this, okay? This is something, in order to configure this, you need to know what you're doing, what you're attempting to accomplish. So for here, I'm going to add a service. I'm going to call it Amazon. Okay, Amazon. I'm going to provide it a look for this book in Amazon. Okay. And I want it to display in the View It tab. I have the option to display it, depends on the service, and what you're attempting to accomplish. But I can define a general electronic service can be in the View It, so the View Online services. It can be in the Get It, for if it's a service that is relevant for print type of services, or it can be in both. Okay, it can be in both. And this time I'm going to do a View It. It's an electronic. It's more towards electronic books, so I'm going to do it in the View It. And here I define the URL template, okay? The URL template is the URL that I want the user to link to. Okay, now let's look at this template that I chose to create. Okay, this is a URL, okay, which links to Amazon. It links to Amazon. This is a link to syntax that is supported by Amazon in order to look up books in Amazon. So what I want to do is to provide a service that will link to Amazon, but not just do a general link to Amazon. I don't want to just go to their general website because, again, it's context sensitive. I want to search for this specific book in Amazon. So I need to give it a parameter which is called RFT-ISBN. RFT-ISBN is an open URL element that stores the ISBN. The ISBN, which is an identifier of the book. And I want to use the identifier of the book, the ISBN. I want to use it within the URL template. Because whenever I want to present this service, I want to go to Amazon and look for a specific ISBN. Okay? So this is the URL template that I'm going to use. Now, I want to also define the condition in which this service will appear. I don't want it to appear all the time. It doesn't make sense. I only want it to appear when there is an ISBN. If there's no ISBN in the open URL, don't show this service, because otherwise I would get a dead link. So I would go to service availability rule, and here I'm going to add a rule. This defines the condition in which the service will appear. Here you have all the context objects attributes, okay? All the context elements, attributes that are part of the open URL. So here, these are all standard open URL attributes. Okay, so we have the ISBN and the author and the title and an ISSN and year and volume and issue and start page. All these elements, standard open URL, you can refer to the open URL standard documentation and see all of the elements that are supported by the open URL standard, and they're here. You can use them as condition for displaying the service. So I'm going to look for the RFT-ISBN. Here it is, RFT-ISBN. Okay, the condition is that show this service. First of all, let's give it a name. ISBN. Show this service if there is RFT-ISBN and it's not empty. Okay, if the ISBN is not empty, then show this service. And show it. Okay, it needs to be condition true. Oh, no. Yeah. Okay, ISBN, it requires an ISBN. Okay, I want to enable it without login. Okay, I don't have to be logged in order to see this service. Okay. Okay, so I have an additional service which is called Look for This Book in Amazon. Okay, and if I click on it, hopefully it will take me to the right book in Amazon, 100 comics, whatever. Okay, so it will take me to this general electronic services. But I have a full text for it, so why should I direct them to Amazon? So for that, I would go to the display logic rules and define a display logic rule that will say, if I have a full text available, don't show me this general electronic services. So let's do it just for the fun of it. So, okay, I go back to the configuration menu, go to display logic rules, okay? And I'm going to add a rule. We saw this. Let's see it again. So don't display general electronic service with service Amazon, if exists service full text of any type. I don't care what's full text. I don't care from who. In general, if there's a full text, don't show me this service. Okay? So I would go back here, search for it again. And now I only have full text available in eBook Library. Okay? So now it makes more sense to display this service, because if there's a full text, don't show me this. If there's no full text, help the user and send them to Amazon for him to look for this service. But this is just to illustrate the flexibility of really creating any type of general electronic services as long as you know the syntax, and as long as you can embed information that comes over in the open URL as part of the context object, then you are able to create this general electronic service. Okay. So we talked a bit about configurations, options, and view it and get it and combinations. So these are the link resolver results. In addition to that, there is all the electronic resources electronic journals are available through an A to Z title list. This is a service that is provided by Primo based on information that is published to Primo by Alma. Okay? This used to be a service that existed in SFX. It's not part of Alma. It's part of the discovery system. It's part of Primo. And since we are always asked about it in Alma, I'm going to show you it in Primo. There's not much control we can do over it in the context of Alma. There's more control over it in the context of Primo, but I'm not going to go into that at this point. So I'm going to just show you an example. I believe it's a BC example, Boston College example. This is a BC, Boston College Primo, they call it Holmes. And I can go to journals here. They call the A to Z journal. Okay, this is the A to Z that is created by Primo based on information that is published to Primo. So you can access all of your journals in this case using browsing functionality. Clicking on J will list all the titles that start with a J and so forth. Okay, starting with J. And again, for every title here, I have the link resolver services that can be supplied. So for example, for this, you see that there is no electronic services. There are print services. What Boston College did in this case, they created an A to Z of their journals, whether they're print journals or electronic journals. Okay, they combined it, and they created an A to Z title list within Primo. So for every result in the specs in this interface, you are able to get the link resolver results as well. Clicking on here, okay, and this gives you the link resolver results for this specific journal. Okay, and so forth. So an A to Z list is just another OpenURL compliance source. Doesn't matter if we start from PubMed, doesn't matter if we start from Primo or from the A to Z from Primo. You always get the link resolver results as they are provided by Alma, as you can see here. Okay? Something else that we're asked about and I want to provide you information about is the citation linker. Again, the citation linker is something that is part of SFX. What is a citation linker? Citation linker is just a form. It's a form that enables end user to fill in manually metadata information about citation. So instead of going to a database such as PubMed and searching for whatever you're looking for, instead of searching for that in an external database, you know what you want. You have the metadata information of the citation that you are looking for. So instead of looking for it in all kinds of databases, there is a citation form that enables the user to fill in the metadata information of what he already knows. Okay? So filling all this information in the form Clicking submit will create an open URL that again will be sent to Alma, and Alma will provide with the relevant services for that specific citation. So let's look for an example. This is another example. Again, the citation linker is something that is available through Primo, okay? It's not available, the actual form is not available through Alma, it's available through Primo. This is an example of the VCU citation linker. You see again, they branded it the way that it's appropriate to their look and feel. But you see here, there's tabs that enables you to fill in information. I'm going to do Publishers Weekly. I'm going to put in the ISSN. Okay. Volume issue, I can do whatever I want. So okay, now if I click go, okay, it's just like clicking the VCU get it at VCU button that we saw in PubMed, but this is part of the citation linker. So by clicking go, it will generate the open URL, consult with the Primo service page that will consult with Alma, and Alma will respond with the relevant services. Okay, this is a service. In this case, they defaulted to the details screen at View Online. And it shows you all the services that Alma can offer for that manually entered citation that I just added to the form. Okay, so these are all the services for Publishers Weekly. We also saw this same example when I searched in Primo. So the available services for that specific citation. I just want to touch a bit about troubleshooting. We often have issues and we do not know how to resolve them, and we wanted to provide you with some tools that will help you to understand what's going on. The link resolver involves a lot of components. As you can see, it involves the third-party databases, it involves Primo, it involves Alma. It's a bit difficult to troubleshoot and try to figure out why you're not getting what you're expecting to get and so forth. So we created some troubleshooting tools, capabilities that will help you. So I'll just want to show you. Okay, I have this Publishers Weekly result. I can now I want to debug it. First of all, I want to see what is the open URL that created this. Okay, what is the information? So first of all, I can do open source in a window, and then if I do view page source, I can see that I have here in comment a debug URL. I will take this debug URL, copy it to my browser. Okay, and this is a summary of all the information. What does it say? It said, do you remember that we talked about the context object? So Alma receives the open URL and it builds the context object. Here you have the context object that was built by Alma in front of you, so you can understand what is the metadata, what is the citation that we're talking to, that we're referring to. So it has here, it's a container. The context object is a container of all this metadata information. So it has, for example, it has the ISSN, and it has the title, and it has the publication date, and it has a short title, an abbreviated title, and all the information, all the metadata information that Alma collected as part of the analysis of the open URL. You remember that we talked about the fact that it gets an open URL and it tries to enrich it and so forth. So here you can see the container of this open URL, all of the content. What you can also see is, you can see here, so this is the context object. Let me close it. Okay, this is the context object. You can see another container here, which is the context services. The context services are all the services that Alma calculated as being relevant for this open URL. And you can see here, what's nice about it, it also has the target URL, okay? So for example, let's say I have this link to, ProQuest. This is the URL that is, this is the URL that Alma created in order to link to this specific, for this specific title in ProQuest. Now, let's say you have a customer complaining about the fact that the link does not work. You can actually see what is the link that was generated by Alma, and it will help you to debug this information and see, is it a problem with the URL that was created by Alma? Is it a problem with the vendor side? It has some information for you that will help you process the issues that you're facing. So it also has information that will enable you to better understand the link, the service page. For example, if, you expected a certain service to appear, but it's not appearing. Why? It could be that it doesn't fit the coverage information. Okay, so for example, the user is looking for volume 1, issue 1, but the library only has only purchased access as of volume 2. Okay, so when you look at this page, this information, you would see that Alma filtered out a specific service because it didn't fit in, it didn't pass the threshold of the coverage information. Okay. And for example, if we had the example of the link to Amazon and it required an ISBN, and let's say I'm looking at a citation that does not have an ISBN and has an ISSN, it will say here that link to Amazon does not appear because it did not pass the threshold of needing an ISBN. So it helps you to understand why you're getting the results that you're getting. If, for example, you were expecting to see in this example link to Gale, but you're not getting link to Gale, you can drill down and find out that the link to Gale is not appearing because it was filtered out due to display logic rules that were defined. It explains you the thought, the calculations of Alma. So it goes, when Alma gets an open URL, it tries to calculate. And then it says, okay, I have this and this services, but now let's filter out this service. So this troubleshooting tools gives you information about the processing of the open URL, the information about the calculations of services, and also of the target URL that is created in order to link to something. So if you get an SI or an issue that relates to linking, in this aspect you can use this capability. It's very simple. You just do view page source, copy the debug URL that is part of the page source, and use it. And it's not just for you as support, it's also for customers, for the use of customers, so they can understand what happened, why they're not getting what they're expecting to get, and so forth. Okay, I'm done with what I plan to show you.